Hello, welcome back to the Black Girl Gamers Online Summit. I hope you're enjoying it thus far. As you know, my name is Jayan Lopez and I'm the founder and CEO of Black Girl Gamers. And we are now on the As Grassroots Grow panel. So let me tell you something. Running a community-borne brand is not easy, and navigating the gaming industry can make it all that more rewarding, but also challenging. So on this panel, we're going to discuss how to maintain community authenticity and reflect the needs of your members and constituency whilst growing as a community-borne brand. So without further ado, let's meet the panelists. Hello, everyone. Hello. How are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this panel. I'm really excited to get into it. It's nice to have this kinship in running a community-borne brand and running a brand that creates opportunities for marginalized groups. So the first thing I want to do is, on a clockwise fashion, just tell me a little bit about the self and the community that you're either running, created, or a part of. So let's start with Elaine.
Thank you, Dan. Hi, everybody. My name is Elaine. I am current Vice President of Latinx in Gaming, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to building community and giving resources to Latin American developers, both in the U.S. and all over Latin America and the Caribbean. But that's just my advocacy job because I am a full-time game developer. So my actual role that pays the bills is a senior gameplay designer at Worlds Untold.
Amazing.
So a little bit of both.
We love a multifaceted person. That's great. Jennifer, you go next.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Jennifer or Jane. My gamer tag usually is Invincible Jane. Don't ask me why. I guess I just like to win. So I created a French nonprofit which is called Afro Gameuse with an S at the end, and the whole point is to have to develop a French community and a French-speaking community of Black girl gamers. So both working on the inclusion side of things and the representation side of things in gaming, both on Twitch, as content creators, as game developers, in esports as well. So we've been doing a lot of stuff since 2020 now. We just celebrated our 4 years anniversary. And yeah, obviously a lot of what we've been doing has been very inspired by Black Girl Gamers. So thank you so much for having us here, and your amazing work, Jayan, has been really inspiring here. I also I used to work with studios, I used to work for Ubisoft, and for about 2 years now I've been working independently, starting my own business and still working within, in creating better representation, especially for Black Africans and Caribbean diaspora around the world in games. So that's part of my daily job and challenges. I'm working also at the radio. You might know of RFI or RFI. It's the Radio France International, where I basically I write down articles and do a chronicle on gaming and giving my own insights on what's happening in this world. That's
Amazing.
me.
Thank you, Jennifer. And last but not least, Robin from the UK.
All the way from the UK, the second British accent on the panel. I love it.
Yep.
I'm very good, thank you. My name's Robin. Pronouns are he, him, and I am the founder of Gaming Magazine. That's Gaming with a Y, which is the world's only LGBTQ video game magazine. We exist, we've just over 5 years old. We exist obviously to celebrate, uplift, and challenge LGBTQ people, both in games, but also in the industry at large, and everything else that's going on there, providing advocacy, providing support and encouragement through our gaming awards. Shout out to Latinx in Gaming for winning this year's Industry Diversity Award. And we have such wonderful things that we've been so involved in and so lucky to be involved in, but we're really giving voice to the whole LGBTQ plus community around video gaming all around the world. We have a significant chunk of people in America, but we also have audiences in the UK, Europe, Australia, Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, etc. So that we're spreading out nicely all around the world. That is my full-time job, really. I also, the parent company side of things, I also run the parent company, which also runs another LGBTQ niche magazine, as well as provide agency information, agency support to brands looking to get into the LGBTQ community.
Amazing. Thank you all. It's really interesting to hear. It's like I'm speaking to myself in so many ways because I'm similar. I have Black Girl Gamers, and I also founded and co-produced an event called Gamer Girls Night In, which is specifically for women and non-binary people. Jennifer's actually attended Gamer Girls Night In. We met in 2022. And, you know, there's so much about running a community-borne brand that people and the members of the community do not know. So that's my first question to you all. What things do you wish that people knew about running a community-borne brand? And I'm going to let you all start, and then I'll chip in afterwards. So let's start with Robin. Let's hear your thoughts.
The things that people I wish would know, I guess it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you're doing something really positive. The community love the fact you're doing something really positive. The community are predominantly supportive of you doing something really positive. But when you're a tiny, small team with very limited funds and you make a mistake, you make a choice that didn't go well, you maybe didn't even make a choice. Maybe a variety of industry brands over the past 18 months have kind of backed out on deals that you had. Like, you are then left in a position where you're trying your damnedest to do the right thing. You're still believing you're doing the right thing, but you know you're letting parts of your community down. And the community kind of lining up because, I genuinely think it's because the passion of what the community gives to you, if you fumble that ball, even if you're not meant to, it comes back as kind of like, it's that whole sort of meme of like, we were rooting for you kind of thing. It's that whole drag race thing. And I think it comes back sometimes with a little bit of a vengeance, where probably again, it's probably meant with love, but it comes back with kind of an extra sting in the tail because you were meant to be on their side. And I know that's happened to us. I know it's happened to us recently. We're sort of pulling our way through it, but it has kind of been a rough journey for us. But we'll continue to do what we do. We'll continue to fight for the good fight. But deep down, we're a very small company running a community-driven thing that has a lot of love, but that love can sometimes get tangled up in emotion.
Elaine and Jennifer, what are your thoughts on that? What are the things that you want your members or people who don't really know much about running a community-borne brand that you want them to know, to understand? Elaine, we'll start with you.
I would say, especially for us, since we're dealing with Latin America as a whole, I wish that people would understand that, even just the word Latinx has been like a huge, just, I don't know, it's a circumstance that has been difficult, because just by wanting to be gender inclusive, because we know that the Spanish language is gendered, just by trying to eliminate the A and the O, which is gendered, and put an X to replace it, so that we can acknowledge that not everybody in the community and in Latin America identifies with a gender binary. That's just been tough. And even like today, like it doesn't matter like from where, like online, in person, you see posts of people, even if we're announcing something good, like an opportunity for a grant or a scholarship or anything like that, there's always tweets underneath like Latinx is stupid, or Latinx is not, you're butchering the Spanish language, it's whitewashing, it's Western viewpoints and all this stuff. So I wish that people would understand how much we have made a target for ourselves, and how the cost that how much it has cost us to shield the community from all of that stuff. And we take it like as personal hits, right? Like I will put myself in front of the shield of Latinx and gaming and say, direct your hatred at me, because I'm a tough cookie. Like it takes a lot to get me like super upset and super down, because people don't know what I have been through in my life. So I'm just like, you can say whatever you want. Like I was somewhat built to be able to withstand a lot of opposition. So please direct it to me. Keep my community safe. Like don't you dare like try to hurt them or DM them or anything like that. And I wish that people would understand that how much it has cost us to be able to build that, have that tough skin, to be able to ignore some things that are worth ignoring. And how much it costs us to pick our battles as well. We cannot save everyone and everything. There's no way. And there's no way that we can take upon ourselves that huge responsibility of being the voice for all of Latin America. That is not a monolith. You know what I mean? All of our countries have issues from, what's going on in Venezuela. That's very, very real. The uprising, people not having food and all of those things, to Puerto Rico needing help during hurricane relief, and having no electricity for months and months. Every country has different needs, and we wish that people could understand and be conscious of the fact that there's a lot of going on, and Latinx and gaming cannot solve it all, but we're there. All the developers who are part of the community succeed in making their games, in making their content, and all of those things, despite the opposition of the Latinx, despite the opposition of the homophobia and the transphobia that is rampant across the Latin American community. It's like ingrained, very much so. And we're just fighting every single day. And I wish that people would see that fight instead of just being like, oh, they do good. They're excellent, an excellent nonprofit. But it's like, it comes at a cost and it comes at a sacrifice.
I would love
and I just wish people would see that.
I completely agree with your experience, and I've felt it myself, running Black Girl Gamers, having the largest community of Black women gamers in the world, and this idea that we are meant to solve every problem, especially that comes with being a Black woman specifically, and everyone looking to you to be the mule to solve everyone else's problems, because you're sometimes the most oppressed in the room. And it can translate into, an expectance for you to solve problems for people, and for you to work, and for things for free as well, like loads of things where it comes, and we'll get to that in a second. But I do want to throw to Jennifer, your experience. What would you like to know briefly about running Afro Game Roosters, and how that translates to what you would like to tell people?
For me, first of all, I completely align with what's been said before. I feel like this experience of building up a community that people don't usually really expect, and people don't always give credit to. I wish people knew how hard it actually is, because like you said, we have to face a lot of issues when it comes to funding and working with small teams. And I feel like a lot of the work that we do comes from passion, because we're passionate and we really like huge advocates for what we do. And I think I'm probably one of the first people here in France to actually have started having these discussions, or at least posing myself as a spokesperson when it comes to inclusion, and especially when it comes to, seeing race in France, which should not be even a topic for the French people. And so this comes with a lot of criticism, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. I guess both sides are valid. But I do really wish people knew how hard it actually is. Been doing this for 4 years now, and I feel like I've been doing it for 20 already. I feel like I've lost some life expectancy. And so every day is a fight, but I also believe a lot in what it brings to people. And I think that's also what's keeping us going, right? What's keeping us inspired to actually keep doing the work. And besides all of that, I feel like a lot of people also don't really realize, like you said, that we can't really be on all fronts, and that we have to kind of pick our own battles. One quick example is that Black women are not a monolith, like we said before.
Mhm.
And, sometimes we will say, okay, we have decided to do this, after a lot of time reflecting about this specific topic. And so you will have people come over and say, okay, but we disagree. Yeah, okay, sure, you disagree, but we believe that this is what is right for the community, and also as part of the values that we have decided to share and to put out there. This is what we want the community to be like. And so obviously some people will not feel, I guess, aligned with this, but some other will. And I feel like with time, you come to understand that it's okay to also like let some people go. Not everybody will agree on the topics that we're discussing right now, the decisions that we're making, but we still need to move on, and it's kind of hard because for me, I wasn't, I wasn't raised, or I didn't learn to actually run a community. So I kind of did it on my own, just like that, because I really wanted to create a space that would be safe for me and other people who look like me. And it comes with a lot of learning. And I think not everybody actually understands that.
I agree. There is no guidebook for a lot of the work that we do. A lot of the things that we've pioneered or created for the communities that we serve have literally come from our brains, and we've manifested them into ideas, events, content, media, programs that serve other people. And I just want to, first of all, commend you all for building something, and commend myself too for building.
You should, as you should, please.
From scratch, that was not asked of you necessarily, but you wanted to help others. So first of all, well done. And I think the next thing that I want to tap on, is we've all kind of touched on it a little bit, is about the industry at large and the support that it gives to community-borne brands. We've all obviously worked with partners in some kind of fashion, but do you think the industry at large does justice by grassroots organizations? What does the industry do well, and what can it do better in terms of supporting community-borne brands? And let's keep it brief, because I do have a couple more questions before we have to wrap up the panel.
I can answer that real fast. I think the industry is great at noticing that we exist, that we're out here. And they're terrible, or maybe they're also really great at just ignoring the fact that we do exist. That's one thing that I really have noticed. Like, it doesn't matter how visible you are, how impactful you are. Sometimes when they will just, understand, when they decide that they will not work with you, they just won't. And I don't want to be, this pessimistic person, but sometimes it's just the way it is. I will take one really simple example. And is it okay if I name like a specific studio? I want to make sure we're all right with this.
So that we keep you in the studio.
Let's just say there is this one French. There's this one French studio, probably not the biggest, but like one really big French studio, which I know of. We know many people who work within the industry and within that studio, and we know that a lot of stuff, like terrible stuff, is happening over there. And you would expect one of these big studios to actually, who also are big advocates about inclusion, etc., to be one spokesperson that you want to go to when you want to, organize events and stuff like that. And sometimes they will be like, okay, we hear you, but we'll just won't do the work with you. And so you come to question why. Why is the industry so hypocrite? I'm sorry to say this, but I feel like this has become so true in a lot of cases. And, I came into this industry being so naive and being so hopeful. I'm still very hopeful and very optimistic because I believe in the work that we do. But I've come to, unfortunately, think that a lot of them don't really want to give out the support. Now, for those who do support us, they do it great in the sense that they will provide financially, they will assist when it comes to bringing out their employees as speakers and stuff like that. But when it comes to going to the next step, actual funding, actually helping us or building actual stuff together, now it becomes a bit harder. And I understand that it also comes from the fact that they are huge organizations. for some of them. And so for me, the difficulty is how to actually go to the next step. We know that there is a big issue in terms of representation, inclusion, diversity, accessibility in the industry. Now, what do we actually do to make it better? And that's where sometimes it's hard for brands to actually step up in their games.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in because I do want to also make sure that we hit the other questions. But I completely agree with you. And I think one of the things that I think a lot of studios are company-borne brands are looking for is longevity and intent. And I think those are the things, we get a lot of lip service, and we sometimes get a lot of, okay, we'll work with you for this period or this holiday or this honorary month that you will have for your marginalized community. But when it comes to consistent annual work that actually brings a lot of, if for instance, if you're looking at it in marketing or in terms of product seeding, it brings about a lot of loyalty, because community members within our communities will really hone in on the fact that this brand supported them as a person, their marginalization, and how to get them out of being marginalized in this industry. But a lot of brands do not recognize this fact, and they don't actually quantify it or qualify it against their ROI. And so I think that's also part of the issue with that. I mean, Elaine, I know Latinx does a lot of work. I've seen a lot of great programs come from you all. I'm very inspired. What is your experience there?
My experience has been, and I can only give the perspective from the US, right? Because that's the companies that we work with are in the US. But what we have seen is through the years, especially this year with all the layoffs and the state of the industry, how companies are really pitting communities against each other for funding. And be like, oh, we cannot actually give money to Latinx because we gave money to such and such community already. So therefore, we cannot engage. We have had instances where we have received an email, like a rejection email saying, we will no longer be participating in financially supporting Latinx in gaming. But then we had recruiters from that same company come to an event of ours recruiting one of our community. So there's just so much, the messaging feels so scrambled sometimes. And that's why I really strongly believe in intersectionality, that we don't need them, they need us. So therefore, I'm going to grab GGP gay gaming professionals, I'm going to grab Black and Gaming Foundation, I'm going to grab Black Girl Gamers, and it's what can we do together to make something really amazing that it'll blow everybody's socks off, and there's no way that they can ignore it, right? Because we all want the same thing. We want more people like us to enter the industry, climb up the ladder of leadership, and hire more people like us. And there's no way to do that from the top down, right? You cannot send a letter to the CEO of whatever company and say, hire more Black developers, hire more Latino developers, hire more LGBTQ developers, right? But what we can do is quietly infiltrate the system, right?
Exactly.
and start from the ground up and work our way up. And that takes a lot of perseverance, and that takes a lot of resources and mentorships. So it's this whole domino effect, and that's why our communities exist, because we're conscious and understand that you can't just bring a young person into the industry and not give them any support when they're of color, or where they're just underrepresented in all facets of who their identity is. So that's what we need to get better at. And that's why we're really going out there to these companies and say, what can you do to support in the phase of professional development for all of these people, right? Do you want to come in as in the mentorship phase? Do you want to come in the professional development phase? Do you want to come into the leveling up for more senior folks? Where do you fit? And how can we work together? And I think there's been a change quite a bit where we used to go out and be like, please help us, please give us money, please do this. And now it's the inverse, where it's just they come to us and say, how can we meaningfully engage with you to serve your community? And then we make them accountable for that. But that has been a process. Latinx in gaming has been around for 7 years, going on 8. And we have seen how things have changed, but we have seen how challenges are starting to arise that we didn't have before. So I think it's an evolution, and it's an ebb and flow. But accountability is a big one for all of these companies. And you just got to keep knocking at that that door. Because just because they do one thing right 1 year doesn't mean that they'll continually do it. And
Sure.
the shift, people getting laid off, right? There's a shift in
Right.
the people who lead these things. So it's like reconnecting with them and having them understand what's important. So
Yeah.
it's all relative and complex, an onion problem, really.
Yeah, it is an onion problem. And we do have to wrap up very soon. I just have one last question that I want to ask, and I'll start with Robin. In terms of maintaining the sense of community, the integrity of your goal, and the integrity of, you know, the services or the services or products that you provide your community, how do you maintain the integrity as you start to scale? So Robin, we'll start with you, and if you could kind of keep it brief just so that we can end the panel on time. But yeah, how do you maintain that focus on that integrity as you start to scale as a business, as a community-borne brand?
We had to bring in what we call the naughty step, which is the fact that when we first started, and it has got a little bit better, I will say, but when we first started 5 years ago, we were being approached by quite large companies that had been through the ringer or had awful court cases brought against them for various reasons that we won't go into. And you kind of had to be on board and on the kind of watch for pink washing. And so we kind of had the naughty step, and we had like a number of companies that had to sit there, and we genuinely were turning down 5-figure deals, which is enough to sort of tilt the balance for a month's worth of sort of payments to people. But we needed to make sure we had that integrity. We had to make sure that we weren't being used and sort of railroaded. Yeah, for pink washing, and it was tough, and it still continues to be tough, and that there's still that kind of moments of how we kind of keeping our eye out for those sort of things. But in terms of how we scale, and I think that's probably, I kind of alluded to it earlier, like we scaled, and the industry obviously went through what the industry's gone through for the last 18 months. So we had to descale. And did we handle that process of descaling right? No, we didn't. Why? Because I haven't got a clue what I do have a clue what I'm doing. For anyone listening that wants to fund us, I genuinely do have a clue what I'm doing. But in business terms and stuff, like we're new, we're diverse, we're a young company. Like we're making mistakes. The problem is we're making mistakes in public in real time from a community organization that people expect better of. We're not just a random company like GameStop will just go and shut down Game Informer after 33 years or whatever it's been today, and just walk away shrugging their shoulders. We're not like that. So for us, it's kind of learning those lessons the hard way, picking ourselves up, making sure that we're still delivering on our core message, and just keeping our eyes open for when we think we might be used.
Yeah, I agree. That tokenization has definitely come across our experience as well as Black women. We do have to end the panel here. I'm super sorry, but I would love to know how everyone can find and support your communities. Let's start clockwise. Elaine, why don't you start?
Yes, so you all can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on X. I hate saying X, of Twitter X, and Instagram. Our handle varies. On X, it is Latinos in Gaming, and on everything else is Latinx in Gaming. And we're very active in our Discord as well. So it's just I think it's #Latinx. That's our Discord. We have a custom handle for that. But yeah, we're here to serve. And please shoot us an email if any of y'all are out there who are Latinx that are listening to us. Anything that you need, any help that we can give, contact@latinxingaming.com is where you can reach all of our staff, and one of us will answer you within at least 24 hours.
Excellent. And Jennifer, for our Francophone speakers out there, tell us where they can find you.
Of course, we basically on all social media at AfroGamers with an S at the end. I keep repeating myself because people forget about that. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, basically everywhere. And you can just join on Discord if you would like to be part of this incredible community.
And Robin, your turn.
You can read Gaming Magazine at gamingmag.com, GAYMING mag.com, and we are on every bit of social media you can think of at Gaming Mag.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you all for the work that you do. thank you me for the work that we do as well. I'm super excited to, in the future as well, do more work. I know we're looking to do some stuff. Elaine, Jennifer, you and I have to link up, and Robin, we did the stuff with TikTok recently. I'm looking forward to doing more. But thank you so much for joining the panel. To everyone who's watching at home, stay tuned because we have more coming. Don't forget about the panel giveaways, the virtual goodie bags, the networking, the expo, and also the sessions. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
What's up, Black Girl Gamers? I hope you're having a wonderful summit. I wanted to quickly say how much we at ID at Xbox are proud to be a sponsor of this year's event. My name is James Lewis, and I lead the ID at Xbox Developer Acceleration Program, whose mission is to empower underrepresented developers with the information and resources needed to bring their games to Xbox. Since 2019, we have partnered with and helped over 150 underrepresented developers. This includes teams led by women, Black people, Latin people, members of the LGBTQI+ community, and developers across Southeast Asia, India, and Africa, and more. We support developers in 3 primary areas. Number 1, we provide access to non-recoupable funding to offset porting costs. Number 2, we have monthly webinars designed to help our teams with the best practices around shipping their titles on Xbox. And number 3, we're incubating new ideas in our prototype program. So if you're attending the summit and you're thinking, hey, I'm working on my own game, or maybe you know another underrepresented team working on an awesome game that could benefit from our support, please visit xbox.com/ID to submit your title for consideration. And if you're not sure if you're ready, take inspiration from teams like Veritable Joy Studios, creators of Validate, struggling singles in your area, or teams like Rocket Adrift, creators of Psychroma, which will soon be playable on Xbox. Whatever you do, don't let the pursuit of perfection prevent you from taking the next step. I look forward to seeing more games from this community. Have a great summit, and we look forward to hearing from you.